Welcome back to Wildly Creative Women TV. I'm Sarah Layton, your wildly creative, divine feminine business coach. And it's Friday already. We made it to the end of the week and our first 5 live shows. This has been a lot of fun. A lot more fun than I actually really thought that it would or that it could be. So thanks for that. And I'm going to thank myself a little bit too for showing up and recording and re-recording when sound didn't work out and all that kind of good stuff. But yeah, so I wanted to end the week on a really powerful note, and we're going to return to our usual, I think, what's going to be our typical Friday night lineup, which is our drama-free freelancing series. So tonight, I'm really pumped about this. I think it's going to be a big one. I think this is going to be one of our most viewed episodes. We're talking client confrontations, tough talks, boundaries, and better yet, the boundaries or the red flags, my goodness, to look out for so that we don't keep finding ourselves in these sticky, yucky, uncomfortable, confrontational type situations that make us want to cringe. Okay. So let's do that. Let's go right into our big red flags because we got no time to waste. And if you haven't already, obviously you're going to want to subscribe, you silly goose, and grab your free goodies. I always come along with something free. I'm not showing up into your home or into your world without bringing something along, right? That's just silly. Who shows up to the party without something? So I brought along some printable, really, really beautiful boundaries, affirmations cards that you can print off. I hope you enjoy them as much as I do. I really, really love these gorgeous luxe floral prints. They're so, so pretty. And once you've got those, it's time to roll up our sleeves because we gotta get real in talking about some red flags. But before we do, I want to just clarify that when it comes to client boundaries, and Fitz and the Hubs are playing, is Fitz got a haircut yesterday, so he is fired all the way up today. He's been running me freaking ragged. So you may hear him running around and running his mouth off a little bit in the background. He's a mini Aussie Doodle mix. I'd love to know what kind of little fur babies you have that run your life when you're working from home. Drop me a little line. Let me know. Who are your actual bosses? I always say that Fitz is the real CEO of Layton Media. So anyway, if you hear him, sorry about that. But let's talk about the fact that clients can't violate boundaries that we do not present clearly and on a regular basis, right? So a lot of times clients come to me and they go, Sarah, I'm so upset. All of this happened, da 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 da. And they violated my boundaries here, and they violated my boundaries there, and they just keep violating my boundaries. And then I ask them for evidence of where and when they presented those boundaries and got confirmation from the client that the client understood and agreed to adhere to those boundaries. And guess what happens? We don't have them. Or we just have the contract, and I say just the contract because, believe it or not, most people are not reading them or not reading them all the way through. Or a lot of times the people that you're dealing with on the day-to-day are not the ones that would be reading through that contract in their company or something like that, right? So You can't just assume that because you use a contract, the client is going to know and remember all of your boundaries, okay? We want to, and we've talked about this before, we want to integrate boundaries regularly into our communications and constantly set up and empower not just ourselves, but our clients around these boundaries, okay? So before we went down those rabbit holes with rants and raves about all of the horrible things that our freelance clients have been doing to us, I just wanted to make that clear that it's not, we're not doing ourselves any favors by getting upset and blaming our clients for these things either. We really are not. And getting yourself all worked up and commiserating and spending hours in the Facebook groups looking for exterior validation and things like that, it's not serving you, okay? So, that being said, I promised we were going to talk about the red flags and the tough talks. So let's get right into it. Number one, they need it super cheap. Red flag, red flag. If you are still in the stage of your career where you are working one-to-one and every dollar counts, guess what? Everyone wants it cheap. You're not cheap, and what you have to offer is not accessible in an inexpensive way yet. Once you scale and you go into a scalable model like a membership site or platform or something like that, then you open up all kinds of doors where you'll be able to offer your services or your products or your solutions better. It doesn't matter how they're packaged, you'll be able to offer your solutions at scale much less expensively. And then everybody wins in that capacity, right? Because you get to have a wider impact. You don't have to charge as much, and you can cherry pick your one-on-one clients. But if you're not there yet, and that's a whole other mountain to climb, right? You at least want to make sure that you're leaving yourself open to those better clients and protecting your capacity by not signing on with clients that just want it super cheap. Number two, I need it crazy fast. Uh-oh, red flag. Watch out. This is the kind of thing that my people-pleasing, perfectionist rebel maidens, yours truly, can struggle with big effing time because they love to prove themselves. And there is something so exciting about the prospect that someone else wasn't able to get it done fast enough, and you can come along and be the hero that does it crazy fast for them. And you get yourself all whipped up and excited and convinced that you can do it without considering where your capacity is at today, where it's going to be at during that project time based on what you have going on in your life and all these other things. And then fast forward, we find ourselves in another very difficult situation where we might be having to have a tough talk. Yikes. So watch out for when we need it super cheap, when we need it super fast. Watch out for when their work just needs a little tweaking, just a little polishing. Here's the real problem with this. It's really in the psychology of where the client is coming from, right? I'm a content writer. I'm a copywriter. I have written and sold millions and millions and millions and millions of words. Okay. If I wanted to outsource copy or content, there is no way in hell I would hand off some of my writing and try to hire a freelancer to just polish it up a little bit. The psychology of where your buyer is coming from in that place is not in your best interest or theirs. They believe the job is done. They believe they've basically crushed it, and they just want a glorified proofreader to validate how great they are at what they did and not really charge them. That's the subtext. If you're reading between the lines of what's going on there, 9 times out of 10, you are going to find yourself pulling out every last hair on your gorgeous head when you go along with the projects that just need a little polishing. Okay. Number 4, their communication sucks. So if in the prospecting period, it's a lot of back and forth, and first we're on Messenger and then email, and then they call and they're calling weird times, and like it's all over the place, and you try to ask a question and they answer something else over here, and red flags. Don't need to do that. You can try to correct them. You can try to course correct them by letting them know, hey, the best way for us to communicate to make sure that I'm not missing anything and that we're on the right track and on the same page and yada, 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 all that good stuff is to contact me strictly via email, strictly via Slack, or whatever it's going to be. Okay. And if they still are all over the place, now they knew where the expectations were and chose to not do it anyway. And then you can try again. And then if they're still all over the place, forget it. It's going to be a nightmare. Okay. Number 5. Woohoo! We are cruising along. They trip over dollars to pick up pennies. This has driven me crazy pretty much my whole life when it comes to small and medium or even big business owners. Please do not do this to your employees. Please do not do this to your clients. It is not going to serve, it just never serves anyone. So you want to be on the lookout for when clients are doing this in their business. And essentially, what it means is they get so whipped up in their own ideas and so convinced that they're right all the time that they start making really unsensible or insensible business moves that are not equitable. And they just are constantly doing the wrong thing in an attempt to save money or pinch a penny or, get one over on someone. And they're always just haggling over the bottom line. And in the long run, they're really losing because they're just leaving a bad taste in everybody's mouth. Right? So these are not clients that you want to work with because they will nickel and dime you. They will look for every little thing wrong, trying to get a discount. Again, it'll be a nightmare. Red flag, which brings me to number 6. They believe the client or the customer is always right. Calling bullshit on this one. I have been in hospitality, customer service, call it whatever you want, literally since I was 4 years old. I grew up in it, okay? The customer, the client is not always right. And especially when we're talking about these kinds of services, the whole point of them hiring you is that you're supposed to be the expert, that you're supposed to be the one that knows how to do the job better than anyone else. So who are they to then turn around and tell you how to do the job that they hired you to do because they're not the experts in it and you are? Watch out for this person. They will also try to run your life and ruin it in the process. Big red flags on that one. Okay, number 7, they won't sign a contract and pay at least a deposit up front. Contracts, not a negotiable thing. We always, always, always get a contract. That at least gives us some legs to stand on to try to collect with an agency, an attorney, something after the fact if we're having a hard time getting them to. However, after years of just nightmarish situations, I switched to a model where I just said, hey, these are my prices. They're more than fair, yada, yada, yada. I expect payment in full upfront. Or for my much larger, like higher 5-figure contracts and projects that last a year, 2 years, longer like that, those we do in milestones, right? But still big chunks of payment up front so that I am getting paid to work. I am never working for free, ever. And you should never work for free either if you are already established with a book of clients and a portfolio. You are way beyond that, unless it's something that you want to do. But if this is something that's coming in where your bread and butter matters, waste of time. Red flag. Okay, number 8. They want you to work on commission. Ooh, hoo, hoo. And this is what I mean by this. Let me just clarify is, and typically it's going to be something like you're a sales funnel builder or a lead magnet builder or something somewhere that has to do with lead generation and sales, right? They're happy to pay you once they make the money that they expect to from the product or service that you provide. Well, there's all kinds of problems wrong with this. First of all, how do you know? How do you know? You don't have access to their software, their bank accounts, their anything. So if they make 6 figures on it and don't want to pay you, you think everybody is a good person? They're always going to pay you? No, especially in the corporate world. They're always looking to get one over on you. And to think otherwise, unfortunately, is just naive. And I am as optimistic as it gets, but this is about being real too, right? So there's no way for you to track it. Not really. There's no way for you to really know. And there's, especially in a lot of services, so like when I worked in the real estate industry, there's no way we would have known, so my clients could have gotten very, 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 very wealthy off of me, and there's no way that I would have been able to track it or reinforce it or argue it even in court, probably, that they were making it directly correlating to that because of how real estate and digital worked, especially over those years. And we're talking back like 2015, 2016, all these years ago. So anywho, it's not worth it. Let me just say it's not worth it. And at the end of the day, these are usually just tire kickers and freebie seekers that are looking to get one over on you. So red flag. Number 9, they want you to work on spec, really very similar. Essentially, what they want you to do is do the whole project or do a big portion of the project, show it to them, and then if they like it, they'll pay for it. That's how I had 6 figures worth of stuff stolen from me. So I'm going to go ahead and just say, red fucking flag. Don't do spec work ever. Okay? All right. And number 10, your gut says, no go. I don't like it. Always, always, always trust that gut feeling. It's never wrong. It's never worth it. Okay? It's really never worth it. There are zillions upon zillions of oodles of freelance clients and projects out there, not to mention different levels that you're going to be able to go in your career whenever it feels right for you, whenever that season is here. And you do not ever need to settle for a single project or client. Yes, the bills need to get paid, but you don't need to sell out yourself or your soul to get them paid. In the process, there are plenty of clients that would be happy to respect the shit out of you while paying you what you're worth. Okay? So, that being said, I think it would be fun to kind of talk through maybe some of the different confrontations that are really, really common. So let me just look through here so that we're requested. Okay, so one of the most commonly asked ones or requested ones is cancellations. So I'll just kind of run you through a script of essentially what I say, and ChatGPT can help you out so much with this at this point. But I have a whole swipe file of scripts I use for situations like this because I get so much anxiety around confrontation. I always have as a people pleaser. And so it would be so crippling for me for days or weeks sometimes, every time one of these situations rolled around, that I had to develop this little like templatized swipe file for myself of letters that I could just copy and paste, and I knew were professional and all of these things, and covered the bases and use them, because otherwise I would melt down and I would lose so much time and so much capacity over the situation, and it wasn't necessary or worth it. And a lot of times the client wasn't even upset. Like, I created this whole thing in my head. So anyway, that said, I'll read you my cancellation recovery letter. This is actually in my Siren Spell swipe file. So, okay. So for the subject, I was sad to see this today. My records indicate that you recently canceled your coaching membership or sessions with me. So this is often for a book of freelance sessions, coaching sessions, different things like that. I'm so sorry to see you go. For the benefit of my current and future clients, may I ask why you left and what suggestions you have in order to improve my services? Are there any key features lacking, or is the availability of support inadequate? Any feedback you have to offer is appreciated. And if the cancellation is an error, please just contact me as soon as possible, or contact, and I'll put for me, I use Square, so you could put whatever your payment situation is in there, to determine why they canceled your account. Often it's something as simple as just a bank error, and that is 99% of the time the situation for me. So, and if you are truly canceling, I hope that you'll have another opportunity to serve, that I'll have another opportunity to serve you in the future. I wish you continued success in all your endeavors. Warmly, Sarah. So, real straightforward and simple. And any situation like this, again, you can feed to ChatGPT, and I've got the swipe file for you filled with other letters. Let me see. Talking another like client boundaries reinforce. Let's run through the client boundaries letter. So this is perfect. I'm so glad this one came up, actually, right? Says, I'm so thrilled that you're excited about growing your business. I can feel your enthusiasm each time we talk, and it makes me truly happy to have you as a client. However, I do need to remind you of the terms of our agreement. As it's covered in our contract, I am available to you as follows. And then you reinforce in bullet points what those terms were. So maybe it was by phone for 2 30-minute conversations per month, by email once per day, 5 days per week, excluding holidays. These are good examples, by the way. By text during emergencies only, by Skype only when previously scheduled, etc. Whatever it is that you've already laid out, okay? And you're not changing them here. These should have been in your onboarding and your contract and all that good stuff. And if they're not right now, I'm not shaming or blaming you, sweetie. This is just your opportunity to go ahead and add them right in, okay? No problems. So then I continue on to say, I hope you know that I strive to do my best for each and every one of my clients. Unfortunately, if I allow one client to interrupt the work I am doing for another, everyone suffers, and that is not fair to any of us. Thank you in advance for understanding and adherence to our agreement. I'm looking forward to continuing our work together. Warmly, Sarah. See? Not a big deal. Real straightforward, real clean, simple, and warm. And I now want to just leave you with a little mindset shift, right? We've been talking all week about how to rewrite the negative stories in our head and how to overcome our limiting beliefs. And when it comes to confrontation, client confrontations, this is where we can start to write a lot of stories for ourselves that can make it that much harder to get to the situation. When in reality, What this is an opportunity for us to start flexing our leadership skills, to lead the client through the situation, to show them your grace, to show them your poise, to show them your vulnerability and how trustworthy you really truly are. And if they still can't see it, well, good riddance, right? So I hope that you enjoyed this conversation. I want to keep it going. This is just the start. So please use the comments and let me know what kind of tough talks you're wrestling with your clients, what kind of crazy situations, what kind of red flags are you seeing out there. Let's talk about it all. Thank you so much for joining me all week. I can't wait to see you on Monday. I've already got so many ideas for the week ahead. Have a wonderful